Alright, in this video, let's talk about Honkai Star Rail. So, Honkai Star Rail is the currently newest game from hoyoverse that people said got a lot more loves than its older sister, which you can agree or disagree. While it is without a doubt that a clash between Star Rail fans and Genshin fans happen within social media a lot, most of the Star Rail players are Genshin players. You know, if we quit social media and just play the games, we're basically the same people. As a player of both games, I'm fully aware that the debate between them makes no sense because both are very different games. In terms of mechanics, Honkai Star Rail has its own set of problems that I think needs to be addressed in this video. Once again, this video is just for discussion purposes only, and mostly my opinion, so yeah, takes it with a lot of salt. And of course, because Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact are games within the same company, there are still gonna be the inevitable comparison between the two, whether you like it or not. I think this one is not a surprise. Most of the turn-based games usually isn't really complex in terms of gameplay, but Star Rail is one of the few turn-based games that has a lot of things going on. Like, a lot. The first time I played Honkai Star Rail in its beta version, initially I was pretty disappointed that this game is turn-based. I thought it's gonna be like the good old Honkai Impact 3rd, but my disappointment wasn't really take long because apparently gameplay is pretty complex, which is something I like. But the more you play, the more you have to deal with the pain in this game. The randomness. So in your screen right now, there's few attempts in this game mode called Pure Fictions, where we need to accumulate a certain score to get all the rewards. In this case, the score is 60,000. So I'm trying really hard to get this 60,000 score and had to do multiple times before I finally reach the score. And I notice in every attempt that the score feels so different from each other. That's because the game can really screw you over, depends on their mood. One time the enemies doesn't get frozen even though we have thousands of effect hit rate. One times the enemies focus attack on single character only until they die, and then they attack the other one, which is really mess with me. And one times my attack doesn't crit. But bro, in Genshin you can also fail to crit. Well, yeah, at least in Genshin you can move around and dodge attack, while in Star Rail, in a turn-based system, trust me, it is way more painful to not crit in Star Rail than in Genshin. And the only way to avoid damage is to use preservation characters that provide shields or sustain the damage with the abundance characters that can heal. The good thing is, this game doesn't have a miss mechanic, so you know, if this game has a miss mechanic like many of the turn-based games out there, oh my god, it's gonna be so frustrating, even more frustrating than this. Honkai Star Rail isn't really an exploration game, so maybe you think there is not a reasons to add these unnecessary mechanics like jumping, sitting, climbing. But if there is one thing I would like to add in the exploration sector, I want the character to be able to fall. Like seriously, look at this.
What the fuck?
In turn-based games, we live and die with the auto battle feature because as an old gamer who likes exploration games, RPG games, high-speed first-person shooter battle royale games, let's be real, turn-based are fucking boring. Which is the reason why when I play the story, I always avoid battle, usually by using Jingliu's skills to frozen the enemy. Because it sucks when you want to enjoy storyline and you get interrupted with 10 minutes of battle. It's not fun. Well, let's talk about the auto battle AI. We often use this mode when farming materials or when we generally just lazy. But the battle AI is not perfect most of the time. Bronya uses skills on the characters that has highest attack, even though she has the ability to cancel debuff. Same as March also, she will give shield to character that with the lowest HP, ignoring the fact that character has a target status sometimes. Healers will not use heal unless someone under 50% HP, ignoring some enemies that can one-shot you sometimes with that target status. Characters also sometimes wasting ultimate while it is only one enemy left. I wish we can have some adjustment options when we can modify this auto battle AI. Well, speaking of the auto battle though, Is it just me, or am I the only one who don't understand why we are being limited to only 6 times when we are farming materials? There is no fatigue mechanics in this game anyway, right? You can use characters as much as you want, so why not we have an option to do this auto battle 24 times at least, since the energy cap is 240? I thought the main goals of auto battle is to let the game play itself while we can do other things, right? There's always a day where I just want to farm a single calyx and done with the game. Yet I have to look at my phone again and again and again, 3 times. A bit inconvenience for me. Ah, good lord, the power creep, the moment where you feel like the older characters are not as capable as the newer one. This is probably one thing I dislike the most about Star Rail. I get it, it's a selling point for the new characters, but I noticed that in Star Rail, the power creep is pretty significant. Which one will you choose? A character that can use a skill point to increase character speed and increase its damage? Or characters who literally broke the game by adding more skill points room while also doing the same things as the previous character. The newer 5-star clearly has way more to offer, and you can't really tackle the hardest content in this game without pulling and building the newer characters, since the enemy are also evolving to be more and more annoying. Speed is everything, and the biggest meta stat in this Star Rail is the speed. The existence of speed makes the other sub-stats like attack feel a bit redundant. With attack boots, you may have more damage, but this is a turn-based game, because with speed boots, you deal a little less damage, but you can do it more times, making it just unreasonable to run the attack percent boots. I guess if you have a support characters with really high speed, you can do it with the characters with attack percent boots, but most of the time, without a doubt, speed is the most essential stats in the game, and every single character's type needed it. DPS characters needs to speed to deal more attacks, support characters need speed to be able to buff characters more times, healers also need speed to gain ult faster. Everything needs speed. Might as well change this game into Honkai Need for Speed. The relic system in this game consists of 6 pieces of quote-unquote relics, 4 as the main relics and 2 additional relics called the planar ornaments. You need a certain amount of the same relic types to be able to get the passive bonus of that relics. Each 2 pieces of the same relics will give you the passive bonus, and since the amount of relics are even number, there is no such thing as an off-piece relics like in Genshin, where you can put a single random relic not from the same type and use it as a statistical sticks. To compensate that, so Honkai Star Rail has the system where we can exchange 10 pieces of relics, quite a lot by the way, and turn them into materials to get A, get 1 random relic, or B, to craft the 1 relic with the 1 main stat that we desired by using an item called the self-modeling resins. There's just one main issue. We don't have enough of them. We can only get like 2 or 3 every patch, while the amount of characters that needed specific relics are a lot of them. You can get 1 more if you pay for the battle pass. I still has this behavior where I lock the relic that has really good substats only to realize that these relics will never be used, since there's no off-piece relic, making the relic farming in Star Rail feels a lot more unforgiving compared to its Genshin counterpart. Just my opinion though. Oh my goodness, this is the most mildly infuriating problem for me, and I guess for a lot of players as well, because has been a lot in the discussion section. So after you click on an ultimate button, you cannot cancel it in any way possible. You just have to unleash it no matter what, you like it or not. Sometimes we fat finger our phone and hit ultimate accidentally, or sometimes you panics. Or you hit your DPS character's ultimate, but sometimes you forget to click your Bronya's ultimate first. All the things like that. I just wish one day, listen here Honkai Star Rail, you are well known for dissing your older sister by adding more QOL, then can you add a way to cancel ultimate, because man, it is just sometimes a waste. The next thing I need to address is the amount of things to farm just to level up the trace levels. I complain about this a lot in my gameplay, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. It has way more things to level up, and it requires a lot of materials. You can literally spend the whole 240 trailblaze power just to level up one single trace. Sometimes from level 7 to level 8 you need the whole 240 trailblaze power. I remember it took me almost half a year to fully upgrade my Bronya here. Since the beginning of the game, I think the materials needed is a bit too much. Well, how many times you hear the same line over and over again? This is a bit of a nitpick from me, but do you get bored to listen to the same voice lines over and over and over again? I know you want to disappear among the sea of butterflies. I wish they have more than just one line when casting skills or ultimate. Although I have to admit that those ultimates or skill lines are pretty memorable in my opinion. Quick, I give you 2 seconds to name this enemy. Do you remember what this name of this enemy? Well, me too, because they all look the same to me. It just has different skins. The enemies in this game are not memorable because they feel like bland. The only enemy that I remember out of my head is this guy right here because
Didn't hurt.
another nitpick, but why the support slot only apply for the 4th character? I have a habit of putting a healer in the 4th character slot, by the way. So if I want to use a character from someone else and I also want to use my healer, I have to move my healer to another slot, which is, pretty inconvenient, especially we cannot drag characters in this game for some reason. Yeah, why we can't drag characters in this game? I mean, the neighboring game can do it. So we have a way to make food in this game. Well, maybe food because we literally can make food from trash cans. But what is actually the point of them? The only food type that I use often is the skill points food, while other type of food is just doesn't really matter that much. Also that one food, not really a food though, it's just a consumable that I often use is the camo paint. You can't use the food in the middle of a battle. What are their use in this game? Oh bro, you can use them. You can still use them outside the battle. Yeah, outside the battle. My HP is not decreasing outside the battle. Also, when I'm not in a battle, I can just get close to this teleport point and heal myself for free. Alright, so let's talk about the light cones. So light cones is basically the weapon in Honkai Star Rail. And each character's path has its own type of light cones. I guess that's what the game says, since all the light cones feel like it's just a card with pictures on it. Some light cones have some pretty crazy passives, but in the end, light cones is just an additional statistical sticks. There's no such thing as special substats from light cones, like, the usual crit damage percent, crit rate percent, energy recharge weapons, attack percent weapons, or defense weapons. Yeah, in Genshin you can have 5-star weapons, and also it can look really good for the characters and just aesthetically pleasing to look at. In Honkai Star Rail, it's worth noted that no matter what light cones your character use, it doesn't change anything in the drip section of it. Your characters basically looks the same, which make it feel not so rewarding in terms of character's look. You wanna pull a 5-star light cones for the cosmetic sector? It's not really works like that because cosmetic wise you change nothing to the character's appearance. I can't really tell you how much I love the characters with crafting passive in Genshin, because that crafting passive has saves me tons of farming and materials grinding. In Star Rail, there is no such thing as additional crafting passive where it is possible to get a slight chance of getting more materials. With the amount of trace materials needed, it's crazy how much I have to grind to just min-max my favorite characters in the game. I wish this passive is a thing in Honkai Star Rail as well. Another nitpick of mine, but this game is not really comfortable on the eyes. I have so many issues with the flashbang in these games. Quite a lot of characters having the rather flashbangy skills or ultimates. It doesn't really annoy me that much in the mobile phone version, but oh my god, if you play on PC and watch the screens, you can really feel that your eyes really hurt. I know there's an option to do that, to lower the flashbangy thingy, but it's still pretty much, it's quite bothering my eyes, even though it has the option to reduce that, especially when you put the double time speed, which is, I'm sure, everyone using it. So, ever wonder why Honkai Star Rail feels so generous when it comes to rewards? Because the amount of 5-star characters in this game is absurdly fast to release compared to Genshin. I have to admit, all the characters are super cool indeed. You want to have them all, but there are too many of them released in a short amount of time. Some 5 stars also literally unknown to us players because we never met them in the first place. We never know Argenti before his release. We never know Hua in the storyline before. We don't know who Dr. Ratio is before. All of a sudden he's part of the story. And I don't know. I don't want to get started with this Boot Hill guy. Just, you know, he's just announced recently. The trip marketing. We don't know about him. We never met him before. We never met him before this drip marketing thingy. Who is this guy? Just in this Penacony alone, we already have 6 confirmed 5-star characters and 2 4-star characters. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. And you may also argue if you are F2P then you should just pull 4 characters you like. Well, yes, that works for the neighboring games. Unfortunately, this game doesn't work like that. Like I said previously, the power creep is pretty significant, and if you wanna play rather smoothly, you gotta get that newer 5-star. Well, I guess this was a little bit too early to say, so in my everything wrong with Genshin video, I put a lot in the story. But in Honkai Star Rail, I wanna put the storyline as well, but this game is just 1 year old, so I think there are plenty of storylines we haven't seen yet. But as we already see, let's review a little bit. So, Belobog storyline in Yarilo 6 storylines. I feel like the storyline is really good. It's a really good opening for like the first or the second storylines in the game. And then you go for the Xianzhou storylines, which a lot of people might agree with me that it's a little bit rushed. Not just the characters really just rush, but the storylines also feels a bit too rushy, because I don't really understand what's actually the danger in the Xianzhou part. I also don't really understand what is actually the point of the Astral Express being there, and also the Penacony as well. So spoiler alert, massive spoiler alert. So when the Firefly having an accident with a certain evil being, you will see that the storyline is kinda makes you want, you know, we have something really close to this Firefly girl, and then things happen. We feel like we're really close to her, even though the facts that we haven't really met her long. So yeah, I can feel that rushing storylines a little bit in Penacony. So I can feel like it's not the very good first impression for Penacony for me. But it is just for me. If you like the Penacony storylines, then it's good for you. But for me, it's not really the best. Alright, I think that's it for this video. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think of my list in this video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you hate it or not? Do you angry or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Please be civil about it. I know my opinions are not perfect. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again in the next video.